Hi everyone, thanks for watching this taste test. We got these two new ramens from the freezer section at H Market. It's by Sun Noodle and it's the Jiro style garlic shoyu ramen and the seafood Tonkotsu dipping ramen. I hope I said that correctly. And if you're new to our channel, please subscribe. So we are going to be trying these ramens out today to find out if they taste way better than just a package of ramen. Usually we just have the typical top ramen. Yeah, that's the little tiny packages that are pretty cheap. We can get like 5 for $1. That's usually one we have. So we're being fancy today and trying out these ones. And inside it feels like there's just some noodles and a sauce packet. At first we thought they'd have a lot of stuff in there like on the front, but that's just extra stuff that you have to add in yourself. So it gives you a suggestion of toppings to put on there. I have some pork today, and I also have some green onions, some seaweed, and I also have shrimp, and I'm going to add egg. So here is a list of the ingredients. There's a lot of ingredients in there. Looks like there's over 20 ingredients. And let's find out about this Jiro style ramen. It says it's popularized by Ramen Jiro in Tokyo. Jiro style ramen is most widely recognized for its large portion size, thick, chewy noodles, and topped with mountainous piles of cabbage, bean sprouts, minced garlic, and accented with pork fat, making for a uniquely indulgent ramen experience. Sounds good. And on this, what is Tsukimin? It says Tsukimin, translated as dipping noodles, is a type of ramen in which the noodles and soup are served separately. Eaters grab a few strands of noodles, dip it in the concentrated soup, and slurp it up. First created in the 1960s in Tokyo, Tsukimin is a unique and fun way to eat ramen. So now it's time to open up to see what's inside here, and we're going to prep all of our ingredients so we can make two beautiful bowls of ramen just like we have here on the packages. I'm going to boil this egg. I already have some green onions sliced here. And I have some pork here. I'm going to do my best to slice it thin. It was under $6 for this really big piece of pork. But right next to it was super thinly sliced pieces, but it weighed less than a pound and they wanted almost $15 for it. So I just thought it was more cost effective to buy the big piece and try to cut it thin myself. But they cut it so thin that it's almost transparent. The super thinly sliced pieces from the butcher is the kind that's so thin that it will cook by just adding the boiling broth over it. But looks like cutting it super thin like them is way harder than I thought. And I'm going to boil a few pieces of shrimp for the seafood ramen. And here's what the seafood ramen looks like inside. It has these nice handmade noodles. It looks like those homemade noodles. And there is the broth packet. And here is the Jiro style noodles in the little broth packet. The noodles are a little darker color. Since I couldn't cut the pork as thin as the butcher, I'm using a little salt and pepper, some shallots, and some sesame oil just to fry each side. I believe pork is a meat you definitely wouldn't want to eat raw, so I'm going to make sure it's cooked through. So I'm putting a glass bowl inside this little fancy plastic bowl I got one time when I had a sushi. I sliced up the egg already and I'm just waiting for the pork to finish and I'm going to boil the noodles. So here's how the pork came out. Next up I'm going to have to boil the noodles for 6 minutes. So here's the noodles for the Tonkotsu ramen. It's a very thick bundle. I have to break it apart before I drop it in the hot water or it will just stay in a big clump. And I'm going to open up the little broth packet and put that in a separate bowl. The broth has a good smell. It looks a little weird right now because we have to thin it out. It's very concentrated and add some hot water. I don't have any cabbage, but I forgot that I had some lettuce. So I'm going to go ahead and cut that up very thin. And here's the broth for the Jiro style ramen. It looks much different. And it smells pretty good. So I added some boiling water to thin out this concentrated broth for the seafood style ramen. I'm trying to make it look pretty like the picture, so I'm placing a little piece of seaweed on top and some green onions all around. My green onions and Lettuce looks like they're just sinking though. So here is the noodles. They're all finished. And I'm going to assemble a little toppings on top to make it look pretty. So I put pork, lettuce, some boiled egg, some shrimp, and a little green onions. So this is how it came out. This is the ramen where you dip the noodles into the broth and you slurp it up. And here comes the Jiro style ramen. And the noodles do seem much thicker. So I added a little bit more boiling water so I can stir up that broth into the noodles. And time to make this look beautiful. We're putting some seaweed on the side, like a little fan, and all of the other toppings, some pork and the green onions, almost the same exact stuff as the other bowl. And here's how it's looking. My house smells like a little ramen shop right now. And I'm going to get my son, and he's going to be the taste tester because he loves ramen the most. And here he is. Here's Vincent. My daughter also loves ramen. So these two go together, Vincent. You're supposed to dip the noodles into the sauce. That one you just
I dropped my egg.
Well, tell us if it's worth it. If you recommend people to buy this one. As you see it at the market.
Noodles are kind of hard. But I like the broth though.
Yeah, the broth tastes really good.
And we like 10 times better if the noodles aren't so hard though.
So if the noodles were cooked a little longer, it'd be 10 times better?
Yeah, the noodles are way too hard.
Okay, now here, want to try this one now? There's this seafood one. This one you have to dip your noodle into the sauce. That's what it says on the package.
That one's not too good.
You don't like the seafood one?
No, the other one's way better. But I do like the shrimp in it though. That's it.
Is it just broth? Yeah, it's a broth.
Why do you put it separate?
That's what it said to do on the package, but I would probably just put it together. But if you want to eat it the traditional way, like the package says, it says to have it separate.
And I like the noodles, but I don't like the broth.
Thanks for watching. I give it like a 3 out of 10.
Well, how many stars do you give this ramen?
A 5.
I had a very good breakfast after because my kids didn't want it, and I thought that this was amazing, and I give both of this package a 10 out of 10, and I would definitely get it again. Thanks for watching, and please subscribe. We have a lot of videos on our channel.